Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch Khan, aka the Nutrition Daddy. Good to be back. Hope you guys are doing great. Have a fun audio and video for you today. Today we're going to talk about the egg. One of my favorite foods. I eat tons of them. Is the egg actually good for you? The answer is absolutely positively yes, as long as you don't have an allergy to eggs. And in my practice, I rarely ever see an allergy to eggs, but it's possible. Phenomenal food. In my opinion, it's the original superfood. It's absolutely phenomenal. One of the best foods around, hands down. And also got a really, really bad rap from some really bad research and the media. And we're going to get into that now. So, why is the egg so good? Well, first of all, let me just say ahead of time, it depends how the egg is prepared. Depending on how it's prepared, it can be either really good for you or not good for you. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. But let's talk a little bit about it. Now, the egg has tons of protein, and it's complete protein. In other words, it has all the essential amino acids that you need as a human in the egg. So it's complete. If you eat eggs, you're getting all the protein that you need to the extent that, you know, how many eggs you're eating. One egg contains a little over 12 grams of protein. That's a lot of protein, especially for one egg. Now, why does the egg get such a bad rap? Well, you know, one of the new trends with eggs is I only eat the whites. You know, I want the yolk taken out. I only want the whites, which is a huge mistake, and it just makes my skin crawl when I see that. And the latest thing I've seen with eggs is they have these eggs in cartons. The first time I saw it was in a hotel in California, and I couldn't believe my eyes. You know, there was one of those omelet, stands in this nice hotel for breakfast. You know, one of these all-you-can-eat things, and they took out this carton and they're pouring the egg into the pan, and I couldn't believe it. I actually went over and looked at the carton. I'm like, have we really gotten to the point where we can't even take a real egg and crack it and make it? We have to have it so it can be stored for indefinitely in the refrigerator in these cartons, and God only knows what kind of chemicals they add. But anyway, that's a little aside. Yeah, we're just butchering a food that is absolutely fantastic in and of itself. So let's talk about why the egg actually gets a bad rap. It has a lot to do with the yolk and what's in the yolk. And there is cholesterol in the yolk. There is no question about that. And everyone hears the word cholesterol and is like, oh my God, cholesterol, we got to get it out of our diet, it's bad for us. Cholesterol actually is not bad for you, and your body actually makes a lot more cholesterol than you take in with food. And we're going to have a whole other video, another video on that, because that's going to take time to get into. I don't want to get too much into cholesterol right now, but let's just say there's a lot of misinformation on cholesterol, which is where the egg comes into all its problems. The yolk is actually it is the healthiest part of the egg. When nature made these foods, nature, or whoever you think, put foods together for us and made the animals or whatever, depending on your thinking on that, they were very intelligent. Whoever that was very, very smart. And they didn't just put cholesterol in the yolk, they also put other things like something called lecithin. And we're going to talk about lecithin for a few minutes, because lecithin is really, really important, and it's really good for you. So when you're taking the yolk out, you're taking out a lot of very healthy fats and the lecithin, which was put in the egg to help to digest and use that cholesterol and that fat efficiently. And it's actually really healthy for you. Lecithin especially is really healthy, and eggs is probably the best source of lecithin. It's in other things as well, in nuts and seeds and so forth, but it's very highly concentrated in the yolk of the egg. So what is lecithin? Well, it's made of many different things, including choline, inositol, phosphorus. There's vitamin E in lecithin. These are really important nutrients for the body. And one of the things that they do is they actually emulsify fat. They help to break up fat in the body. They pull it out of the cells and put it into the bloodstream It's one of the very, very good ways to get rid of fat in your body, assuming you're overweight and you really need that. Lecithin is very good. Now, of course, I'm talking about a whole food lecithin, not some junk. Okay, we're talking about the real stuff, like you would find in the egg yolk. So, eggs are actually really healthy, and taking out the yolk is a big mistake, assuming that the egg is cooked correctly. Let's just back up a second about lecithin. So, it does a few things, lecithin. One of the things it also does is it helps to lower blood pressure. So, it has a lot of very good health benefits, in addition to the pulling the fat and breaking it up and getting it out into the blood and helping you burn it. So let's move on. The problem here, and where it gets really confusing with the media and other nutritionists and so-called experts on the subject, is it all depends on how the egg is prepared. That is really, really key. Now, I'm going to take you all the way back in time, okay? Going back to the 1950s, all right? There was a huge amount of research done on eggs, cholesterol, lecithin, and so forth. That was much better than the research done now. Let's put it that way. And in that research, what they did was they took the egg, they took fried eggs, and they cooked it 3 different ways, all right? Now, the first way they cooked it was in refined oil. Now, refined oil it's a natural oil, but it has had some processing to it, okay? It's not raw like as if you had a cold press and you press the oil, but not horrible, but not great. And what they found was when you fry the egg in that oil, the person over time, their cholesterol didn't go up and it didn't go back down. I mean, it didn't go down. It pretty much stayed the same. Okay, it kind of stayed level. Okay, not horrible, you know. The second way they did it, they fried the egg, was with hydrogenated oil, or what we call synthetic oil, which unfortunately is the oil we usually use today. When you go to any restaurant, most salad dressings you buy, it's hydrogenated fat, hydrogenated oil, and it doesn't look or act anything like the original oil that you started with. And guess what? When you cook the egg in this oil, in hydrogenated oils, your cholesterol goes up. And it goes up and up and up and up. And the more you eat the eggs in that oil, the higher your cholesterol gets. So the third way they did it was with unrefined oils. These are cold pressed raw oils like olive oil, peanut oil, sesame seed oil, etc. When you cook the egg in those oils, guess what happens? It's unbelievable. Cholesterol slowly over time goes down. It gets lower in the body. So that's where the confusions basically come from. In recent times, when they talk about cholesterol going up, eating the eggs, guess what they're talking about? They're talking about when you cook the egg, when you fry it, in hydrogenated oils. Yeah, duh, it's going to go up because that oil is basically poison. It is poison. It's poison for your liver, it's poison for your body. And your body gets it and doesn't know what to do with it. So yes, that's true. It's not the fault of the egg, it's the fault of what you're cooking it in. Another thing about the egg, the less you cook it, the healthier it is. I'm not saying you should eat eggs raw, but what I'm saying is you should cook them lightly, like poached. Not poached till they're like dry and really cooked heavy. The yolk should still be soft. If the yolk is still soft, then the lecithin is still the way it was originally. It hasn't been broken down. And that's the way you want to eat the egg, at least in an ideal situation. Once you put extreme temperatures to the yolk, you destroy the lecithin, and then you have also, it's not as healthy for you, and it could also, over time, it could cause some cholesterol issues. But generally, the real culprit here, the real problem, is what you're cooking it in. You're much better off cooking eggs in butter than in hydrogenated or synthetic oils. Much better off. And of course, using cold pressed oils is ideal. but it's not actually the fault of the egg. I was going back and trying to do some research about the egg, and I happened to run across this book called The Egg Project, which was by Gary Null. It's well over 20 years old, but I thought it was funny because I'm going through the book because I want to get some information about eggs, and there's like one line in the whole book about eggs. Although I have to say it's a very nice book. I hadn't seen it in years and years, in decades, but this is one of the good books that Gary Null did years ago. So something, if you run across it, it has a lot of very good information in it. So the bottom line is, one of the original superfoods, so easy to get, so inexpensive, and so good for you. Highly recommended. Most of my patients eat eggs very frequently for breakfast. As I said, just make sure you prepare it properly, and it is no problem. And we're going to get more into cholesterol in another video, and it will probably be eye-opening for you. Any questions? Call me, write me. Always a pleasure to hear from you. I'm Dr. Mitch Kahn, and have a great day.
Eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas.